I'll put that on go live. Let me make sure it went through, and then we will go through kind of the basics, and we will look for some entries. I've got GU up and I've got NAS up. As soon as my computer says, hey, you, I'm listening. Hey, listen. So there we go. I'm going to minimize that. It's working. So here we are, nothing fancy, and I didn't even like screen out some of it, but you guys already know. Please, please, please do not trade what you cannot afford to lose. Like we just talked about, there are people who cannot afford the most basics. So know thyself and know where you're coming from. I will definitely tell you that this can change your life. It is changing lives, and some of the heartfelt messages I'm getting are just beyond heart melting, and that's amazing. Some people are hitting those six-figure marks, some people are withdrawing, and they're getting it. But you have to be able to start with where you're at. So if you don't have the money to lose, don't continuously load your account. Otherwise, you know that I would teach you to be aggressive, and I would teach you to go get it. Because when you're committed and you burn the ships, I believe amazing things happen. So, but for now, remember, I am not your tax accountant, your CPA, your lawyer, or any of those things, your financial advisor. Everything we discuss on this call is for educational purposes only. I am just another person on the other end of this computer screen, and that is it. So, kind of keep that in mind. Let's hold each other to some human standards and not standards of perfection, because it simply will not happen. We will fall short every day. So, having said that, order of operations and trade management when a live trade is called, the first thing I'm going to say is, if you're new to the We the People group, we only started a side group as a way to kind of put the templates, the videos, and hopefully that we, the people, would share our accumulative knowledge, our accumulative ideas, trade ideas, to where we could post a screenshot and say, see, this is moving, because we can't all have, 50 pairs of eyes in our head and see everything at the same time. So that's kind of the whole concept and purpose of that other group, is to be able to maybe ask those really deeper questions, hopefully inside of the group. Within SuperEZ, we really are trying to discourage the people from private messaging each other, because most people who private message each other are trying to self promote, recruit, sell stuff. And it's just not a loving environment. So you can definitely ask your questions in the group, and I promise you other people will be able to help, and then you'll teach somebody else, because they'll be able to see the answers for people who were too scared to ask. And of course, post your ideas. So in terms of today's call, we're going to be looking for about 3 trades minimum. 3 is kind of my sweet spot. I feel like that fourth one typically goes against me, so I usually skip it, walk away, wait some time, and I'll wait for a new set of entry rules to line up before I'll go look for any more. But 5 maximum. Winning trades hopefully per session. We've done pretty well. We haven't taken a lot of losses in weeks, which is phenomenal. Calls will be made to buy or sell at market execution. I'll try to call out the price. Well, to tell you the truth, I'm probably not calling out the price, because this stuff moves so fast that by the time I even spit out those numbers, even for how fast I talk, there's a good chance it's already moved, or it's going to be measurably different than what your numbers say based off of broker time and everything else. So just know it's market execution, and there are no pending orders. So it is your responsibility to manage and decide on a lot size, manager, trailing stop, take profit, stop loss. Too many unknown variables for me to decide that based on your broker or leverage or pair or account side or appetite for risk. So please don't put that on me. We are typically taking trades from the 1 minute and 5 minutes. So speed and entry is key. We do chit chat a lot on here. It's kind of an open forum call, but we'll be a little bit verbal and aggressive when we say, hey, this is moving, we're buying or selling. So you will know what's going on. Remember, market entry prices will vary from person to person and broker to broker. So in general, we're going for about 15 pips, 150 pips accordingly. There will likely be an opportunity for much more than that, especially on these indices. In fact, we found that on those original entries, you can get well over 50 to 70 pips most of the time. I mean, 25 is a fool's errand. It's so, well, no, I said that wrong, but 25 is almost guaranteed. Like, it's so easy. But in terms of those of you who are taking the 1 minute time frame and not the 5, or you're taking the re-entries, 10 pips is, again, super safe. It's almost every single time. It's not perfect like anything else, but it's super easy. So kind of keep that in mind. Remember, always protect your profits. If you get knocked out, that's okay. Don't chase the trade. Your job is to wait for another entry. And when you wait for another entry, the best part about it, and I was thinking about that last night, is the problem with taking a bad entry is now you're overdrawn and you don't have the margin to take the good entry. Now you don't have the availability or the trust in the trading strategy or in the system to even take the entry. You should have took it anyways. So don't do that. Don't chase the trade. Wait for a new entry to line up. This strategy gives you new entries. So don't make one up because you want one. Best practice will be to voluntarily close your position if the 3MA crosses and closes on the opposite side of the 50 SMA or 3 candles. I've been waiting a few candles, or kind of like a fractal break level, because sometimes it'll bounce and touch the 50, but not really make a new high like a fractal break kind of thing. And then it'll just turn back around. So that's kind of how I've been seeing it. Price, or when price closes on the opposite side of the 8, if you're taking reentries, or the fast MACD and slow MACD crossover. So you can pick and choose your poison, but any of those kind of voluntary kill switch closes will ultimately decrease your accuracy, but it will also decrease your risk of ruin and blowing your account in such an extremely volatile market. So pick your poison. This works if you're going to be going for bigger amounts. If you're going to go for a $10,000 day or a $10,000 week, I totally would highly encourage you to do so. It's very, very probable, not just possible. I'm not saying that this is a great time to do 6 figures, because I feel like most of us would do better with just lots of tens of thousands of dollars, but that's just me. But ultimately, understand that the more you choose to do that, it will limit your accuracy, but it's okay because you can always get back in. Best practice is going to be to create a manageable budget. Like I said, if you're not in a position and don't have the money, please don't keep reloading your account. It is not in your best interest to do so. Desperate money does not make money. People who are emotional or in their heads, typically there's so many mental and emotional blocks. You're going to make the most simplistic and, excuse my French, but idiotic kind of mistakes, and then you can't get it back. So don't do that if you don't have the money. If you do, I highly recommend something very simple where you create a budget every 2 weeks. You load your account, you make it very simple. There's no stress in it, even if you blow it or not. And then, of course, when you're making money, withdraw weekly or biweekly, 5 to 10% of compounding, or just withdraw a portion of that if you're, trying to grow it, however you're trying to grow it. So hold questions to the end. I'm going to kind of make that not such an issue today because we have so many new people, and we want to make sure that they're in a good place prior to us starting this competition. That I did talk to Pat, but I did not actually talk about that. We talked about some other things. So I will talk to Pat in terms of what his say so is, in terms of me doing a competition or a contest, just something to motivate you guys, keep you guys very, very working, and keep you guys following the rules, because ultimately that's going to be what changes your life. So, any questions, comments, or concerns? Any at all before we get started? GU is buying. Good job, Ricky. I have it up, but I can only have 2 eyes. Can you trade on the mobile? I don't have charts. Well, with this strategy, you can do fairly well on a mobile device. With the flip-flop strategy, you can. We just can't get like the triple arrows and the custom indicators on the mobile device, Paul. And that's going to make it much harder, but it's possible. I would probably go to like that. Irving and I did a flip-flop strategy video. That one's really good. Or the trading with the teenager video. Everyone's calling it the Rosie strategy, which is pretty cute. Go to something like that for your mobile device, at least until you have a, I just got a message from Pat, and I can say that he said I can do the competition from however. So yeah, anyways, I will definitely let you guys know in terms of how we want to do that. So, and at the end, explain to withdraw the 5 to 10% of the compounding at the end. So if you grow your account, let's say if you only grow it 20% this week, so your account is up 120% from where you started from, withdraw 5 or 10% of that. And that's bare minimum. You don't want to give all of your control and all of your cash over to another person. You don't want to do that. So you want to be able to, I think the psychology in terms of withdrawing is worth far, far more than the amount you withdraw. The people who are having success, I don't care. Go withdraw a new pair of shoes every 2 weeks, withdraw a cup of coffee every week, and actually feel the money that you're trading online. Because right now it kind of feels like people are just playing video games. They don't believe how tangible and real it is. But there is real money. Like there's a real house on the other side of this. People look at this like $250,000 as a lot of money, but it's not. It's really not. Like if you look down the street, how many houses do you see? Every one of those houses empty with no people in it is $250,000, give or take. Everyone. So if you think about how much abundance there is in this world, like understand that this is real, real money, and you guys have power to do everything anything, but you have to understand how real it is. It's not just play money. So, all right, awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Go to new share, make sure I'm on the right screen. Are there any questions, comments in terms of the strategies, templates? Has everybody been able to kind of get that far so far? Oh man, I got knocked out of that S&P trade. How rude. How rude. Oopsie, stomp. Well, let's try that again. Okay, bear with me. Still not a tech guru. I just happen to be a decent. Oh, it won't let me do it.
And make a statement.
Please do. Come on out. How's it going, Derek?
Wonderful, wonderful.
I need some time to figure this out.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think it's important for those of you to protect your computers. I gave a generic post yesterday that talked about some of the basic things that you can do to protect your system as we're going through these tough times. I think people may be trying to tap into more computers than normal, which is already at a high rate. So please protect your system. And then also, as general, be humble, because if you're able to be part of this group and even join here, you're fortunate more than a lot of folks because they don't have the capital to invest in this. So it's a lot of people out there who are suffering. So just be kind and humble.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah, he's right. Unfortunately, he's right. So, okay, guys. Well, as you can see, I went back. This is a live broker, but I don't want to have live money in this account because I want to show you guys what the real price is doing, not a demo price. It kind of really helps. But to get back to basics, now we've built, because of, we have some amazing coders like i.e. Mr. Scott, or Scottifer, since Mr. Derek calls him. We have some amazing people who have built some incredible things. But to understand, and I'll go over this real quick, the gist of the entire strategy is still the 5-minute time frame. So we've got some cool things that make it to where you only need to look at the one time frame, i.e. the 1 minute. But I still want you to understand what the whole point is. The point is, fairly simple. We've got a 3 EMA, an 8 EMA, a 50 SMA, okay, ADX, it's at a 10. And again, Scott built a pretty cool one that's easier to see for all of you visually challenged people to see this one. And that's okay. I'm visually challenged in other things, so I'm not even making fun of you. I promise. There's plenty of things I just don't see. So, but we have another version that you can see a little better if your eyes don't like this one. And then, of course, our dual MACD that's customized to the umpteenth degree. So, with really the entire strategy, that's it. Single time frame. Okay, the 3 and the 9. Donna just corrected me. It is a 3 and the 9, but you guys know I use the 8 in terms of a lot of things. So the 3 and the 9, 50 SMA, that is not an exponential. It isn't a simple moving average. ADX set at 10, level set at 25, and then of course our dual MACD. And because this is a custom indicator at this point, you don't necessarily need to know all the parameters. You just need to know that it's 2 MACDs stacked on top of each other. And this fancy one is so fancy, it even tells you by this center line if it were in a buyer's territory or seller's territory or neutral territory. And then these fancy little arrows tell us where the entries would be if we were following just the rules of the strategy. Now, remember, they're just look at me, just like anything else. They're not something that you should take. Oh my gosh, I see an arrow. I have to take this. That's not how this works. You should see the arrow and then compare it to the rest of your information and then decide if you want to take it. So, pretty simple. What you're looking for is a 3 to cross the 50, ADX to be pointing up, okay, along with the buyers or sellers, depending on whether you're buying or selling. And you're also looking for the fast MACD to break below the 0 line by at least 1 closed bar. You're looking for all that stuff on the 5-minute chart. That is an individual original kind of entry. So if I go over here, I'll make this a little bigger. I know it's got a dual screen, but I want you guys to understand and kind of see that. So that took place right here, right? So fast MACD was, the ADX was pointing up. Momentum was pointing, well, was above the 25. I can't swear to it that it would have been pointing down at that point. Odds are, in fact, I'm pretty certain it was pointing up at that point. Hence, we got that momentum candle. And of course, you've got 1, 2 lines above with your fast MACD. That is your entry. That's it. Now, the reason why this strategy was designed was to say, okay, well, it stinks sometimes when we miss stuff, when we miss different entries, and we feel like, okay, now we have to wait, or we missed it and it's over. And then we end up chasing the wrong trades, the wrong pairs for the wrong reasons. So ultimately, this is the 5-minute chart. Once we're safely and decidedly going in a certain direction, which happened here at 15:30, you're taking any reentry that this strategy gives you over here, which are pretty simple. That's not fancy. It's not even rocket science, believe it or not. So 15:30, there we go. Over here, you're looking for that 3 and the 9 cross, which is here, happens here. It'll give you another entry. Or you're looking for this. So this gave you an arrow at that 3 and 9 cross. You have a fresh crossover on the ADX. Ta-da, pretty simple, not too hard. We kind of broke out of a, I don't want to say the F word, but of the F word area right there, the fractal area. And then again, we have another entry up here. This one was kind of more of a touch than a cross, but it's a valid entry. You have a fresh kind of cross here, and that's it. Now we're just waiting. Your best re-entries are still going to be when you interact with the 50. Always, 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 always. Does that help everyone, or tell everyone exactly what you're doing with this strategy and how it's working? That's it. So now that we're above the 5-minute, we're only looking for buys until we get other information. Only. So even if this gives us a 1 minute to sell, we're not going to take that. We're only going to take the ones that are in the same direction as the 5-minute, right? That's so far.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
We missed
Yes,
that.
got it.
Jenny, the ADX pointing up, that's the green line?
The ADX pointing up. So remember, I went over this. The white line is momentum.
Okay.
The green line is the buyers, and the purple line is the sellers, or whatever you have it set to on your chart.
Yeah, I can't see the purple line, but okay.
Okay. Oh, it's probably too light. Let's see. You can't see this. Let's see if I can make it a little bit of a brighter color for you. How about that? And I can make it a little bigger too. Better?
Yeah, got it. I see it now. Thanks.
You are welcome. So that's it. That's the entire thing. So same thing that happened on GU. GU pushed up, but we were talking and introducing. It was a great kind of push up. So I might have to pick a different pair that's not GU because that already made its move today. That's done, son. It's done. Who's that making noise? Hey, Terrence, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How was your evening?
I have a question. What other like I'm watching GU, the S&P, and I'm watching NAS. Do you have any other like you said, they've all made their move up. So I'm looking at the 1 minute for some re-entries. What other pairs can you suggest that kind of move the way you like?
I'm not in love with the S&P. It moves really slow. It feels more like gold at this point than an indice, but it's pretty steady. It's very consistent and not too volatile. Because I'm spending so much time on the US dollar, it's in my best interest to stay with US dollar pairs. Plus, it makes compounding exponentially easier. But really, any GBP pair, Euro, NZD, gold, they move a lot. And that's all you're looking for. You're looking for something that moves a lot. That's it.
So you said
Euro,
any of the GBP pairs are good, pretty good.
Yeah, well, the GBP pairs swing, man. They move a lot.
Okay.
And then Euro NZD has a pretty high ADR. That's this. Oh, so this number over here is your ADR. I mean, any GBP pair has a pretty high ADR. Stay away from anything that has less than like an 80 or 90.
No.
Well, really, everything has an 80 or 90 now, I think. So stay away with anything that has less than than 100. Because it just is not cost effective to scalp that.
Got you.
I just need some water, something like that.
You do need some water.
Actually,
KP, how can I help you?
From a small, tiny Snickers.
Somebody need to mute their mic.
My apology.
No problem, sir. It's okay.
We're just picking on you. We do that. We're pretty open and loving here. So
That was a missus. I apologize.
Oh, he
You're
blamed
really in trouble now.
I know, he blamed it on his girl.
Oh, you did.
Not okay. See, Stemma's gonna get really brownie points now. No brownie points for him. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this up. I wanted to make sure that everyone. So James, does everyone know where to find that MACD? That is in the We the People group. It's only in there so we could kind of compartmentalize the strategies and not confuse everybody with strategies. So it is in the We the People group. It is a licensed thing. I'm gonna talk to Mr. Scott about lessening the amount of license that each person has access to. But it's on a pretty good server from what I understand, and it's working amazingly. So it gives you pretty much everything. So real quick, I'll go over that and then I'm done. I want to look for some trades and go forward. So going over, this is a massively long amount of instructions. Scott, are you there? He's usually here, unless he's sleeping. He's probably sleeping in. How rude. Okay, so here's what we've got in terms of all this.
This is Wendy. Can you hear me?
Hey, Wendy. How's
I
your
just heard him. I think he just went to the bathroom. He is not sleeping. I can hear him moving around in the house. So he's here. He's just away from his desk for 3 seconds.
See, that's
TMI,
loving.
TMI.
But you see how she came to his rescue? See, that's loving. The last guy threw his wife under the bus. No. We're just playing all in good fun. I promise you guys. I promise. But I'll wait for him. I'll see if he has anything to add. Thank you, Wendy. How are you doing this morning? Are you doing okay there this morning, Wendy?
She's probably banging on the door. Get off the toilet.
I know. Okay, well, Scott can.
I'm here. I'm trying to figure out how to. I think the space bar temporarily unmutes, but it was slow.
It is. Everything's a little slow these days. We're just picking on you. Are you doing okay?
I'm doing great. I'm getting used to the 5 a.m. wake up.
Ouch, that's painful. I don't envy you. Please tell me you're going to bed early, right? Like super early?
Oh yeah, like 9 o'clock.
Okay. Well, teach me how to do that. You teach me how to go to bed early, coach, okay? I can't do
Well,
it.
the way to do it is get your teenager out of the house. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, well, when he gets back, guys, he can probably give you a little bit more of a clear explanation. He's good like that. Naz is pushing down, which is what we want. So I am seeing that. Don't freak out yet. Let's see what it gives us. If it gives us a new entry, we're good. But in terms of how this strategy works, okay, pretty simple. What you guys need to know is Catherine brought something to our attention, actually. So I want you guys to make sure you understand that. The first thing I'm going to go to is risk management. So depending on how you have this set, this can fluctuate. The lot size this is giving you can fluctuate exponentially. And ultimately, if you listen to that on an index, you could potentially blow your account. So please trade accordingly. And what we mean by that is this is set currently to ATR. So the profit lock, I know how this, stop loss, take profit. So ultimately you'd want this set much higher. You'd want your take profit, your end take profit to be set much higher, which would help lessen the blow when the ATR is very, very low. If you're using ATR based take profits and stuff, you need to give this room, because if you're going to the 1 minute to the 1 hour, you could get anywhere from a 0.04 to a 1.1 lot size recommendation because of the ATR being so vastly different. So please, please, please know what you're doing if you're doing ATR based calculations, so you don't take that. And that's only on indexes. This works pretty well on, it works amazingly well on Forex pairs, but they did get brought to my attention. So I want to give you that disclaimer that says, if you don't understand ATR based trading, please turn that off and turn it back to points and only risk what you can afford to lose. Because 5% on a 4 times the ATR doesn't give much of a lot size. But 5% when the ATR is, let's say, 5 pips on like or 50 pips, or it's moving very, very slow, it's going to give you an enormous lot size, so much so that your account can't hold it. Does that make sense? Which is what Derek was trying to bring up, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Wendy tells me that you had a question.
Good morning, Scott.
Only if she knew what you said.
Mm-hmm.
What she said about you.
Mm-hmm. All the time, Scott. Okay, so Catherine brought this to my attention. I wanted to explain it, but I knew you would explain it better than me, which is that ATR based trading. So trading, if this is set to like, for example, 5% and you're on the 1 minute chart, your lot size may be really, really big and maybe something that your account can't handle marginally speaking because that. So any tips or recommendations to tell them, especially on the indices, be careful when you're switching from different times frames because the 1 minute could give you like a 0.5 lot size on an index, which has $300 in that account. And on the 1 hour, it could give you like, 0.02. Any,
Okay, so here's how you can look at it
As
is
dropping.
that the ATR for lot size calculation is set up so that right now that by default, that's the same as the yellow dot if you've got the dots turned on. So that distance is the same, and that is your 5% target for those settings. And your stop loss is actually 1.5 times that. So if you want your lot size to be calculated against your stop loss, set it to the same number as the stop loss. So, right now you, Jenny, have it set to 2.25. So you could set your ATR for target to calculate lot size, just set that to 2.25. And now your stop loss represents a 5%.
I see what, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So
And that
that's
would
your
be,
take profit.
but this
That's
is,
your
this
take
is,
profit level.
but this is based off of reward, not risk, right?
Right. However, you can set it to risk-based just by using the same number. It's how much money are you putting at risk with the lot size that it's suggesting. So if you want to do it as risk-based and not reward-based, you set your ATR for target to calculate lot size to the same value as you have for your stop loss. So it'd be, that's right, oops, up. Multiply this by ATR for target to calculate lot size. Down 3. That one. So if you set that to the same as your stop loss, 2.25, now the amount of movement to give you your move to the stop loss is worth 5% of your account.
Based off of one ATR.
Well, right now it's based on one ATR, but your stop loss is set to 2.25. So you're actually putting over 10% at risk
So I
if
could
you hit
set
your
this to
stop loss.
0.5. 0.5 would be half of the ATR.
Well, what that's
And
going
that
to
would
do
be,
is that is going to increase your risk a great deal because your stop loss is set to 2.25. So your 0.5 is going to go into that, about 4.5. So it's going to be 4.5 times 5%. So now you're risking 25% or to 30%.
so multiply this by ATR to target.
To calculate lot size, okay? So
So if I multiply
what
this
it
by
is
five,
that whatever you put in there right now is going to be that times ATR. That amount of movement is what's used to calculate your 5%. Because you have it set to percentage growth target per trade is 5.
okay. So can I limit
So
that
that's
though?
saying that whatever value you put in there for ATR is going to be that number times the ATR is going to be the amount of movement that 5% represents. So it can be movement positive or negative, however you want to look at it. So if you want to risk 2% per trade and you want to do it based on your stop loss, you can set that to 2, where you are now, and you can say that your whatever your stop loss is, you put that same number into the target to calculate lot size, so 2.25. And now you are risking 2% per trade. As long as you adhere to your stop loss.
As long as you don't move it, yeah.
Right.
So would you keep this at 1 then?
Well, what that is the yellow dot. The distance to the yellow dot is worth whatever percentage growth target you put in.
So the possible protect is what's calculating the overall, not the actual take profit.
Right. Well, it's calculated separately from your take profit. So if you want to make your ultimate take profit the same, you can set it to the same as your take profit number. You know, so if
I
you
thought the
are,
lot size was based off of the take profit, not the mid-range one. That's what I
well,
would.
it will do whichever way you want to. So if you set that number to be the same as your take profit, then that is calculating against the gain, you know, your potential gain. It's just what you're doing is you're measuring a vertical amount of movement. It could be positive or negative. It doesn't matter. And so it's saying that this amount of vertical movement is worth whatever percent you tell it of your capital. That could be growth or it could be loss.
Jenny, Catherine.
Hey,
I
Catherine.
think I'll suggest that in terms of risk management, right? Probably as per even when we use points, in general, we tend to use stop loss to calculate the lot size in general. So, in my opinion, after listening to Scott, that this particular setting, maybe it's best to mimic the stop loss so that you kind of have control over risk, if that makes sense.
It does.
So if you have 2.25, then I would suggest that that setting multiply this by ATF for target to calculate lot size be the same. So if it's 2 for stop loss, then 2 for that setting as well.
Okay,
I mean, that's my opinion.
Ready between Catherine and Scott and all the amazing minds we have on here. Here's kind of the final say on this. I know that this is tedious for some, but others need it. So just work along. I'm still watching NAS and GU. So if anybody sees anything else that lines up with the rules you already understand on the 5-minute chart, by all means, call it out. We're here to be we the people and grow together. But for those of you who are having an issue with lot size and are dead set, your accuracy is good, and you're ready to compound to 6 figures and 10,000, this is a very tedious thing that you guys really needed to understand. So based off of kind of where I'm
Nas might be pushing for a re-entry.
Let me move this. Thank you. Who's that, Terrence?
Yeah.
So let's see what it's doing on the 5-minute chart. No kind of current arrow. That's okay. Let's see what it's doing on this chart, and then I'll keep talking. I might need you guys to, I'm gonna hit okay and save that, and I'll come back to it to keep an eye on it. So here we are with the, I've got it up on the 5-minute chart. So if we would have enough pips to go for 10, when we break that 50, although it's kind of aiming down, we would definitely get our 10 pips out of it, which is all we need. If we miss that moment when it crosses back over the 50, because that's a 3 and a 9 cross. But notice how we're not lining up with any rules at this point. And that's a nice push downside.
So Jen, let me ask you something. In this situation right here, where we see the 3 trying to cross, but it's banging against that 50. Even if it crosses, should we wait until it actually on the 1 minute until it actually crosses the 50 on the 1 minute? Because it looks like it's struggling.
It's wicking. So that's interaction with the 50, but it's not interaction on the good side. It's not like, okay, so for example, this came down here and retested the 50. So it interacted and had some wick interaction here. We're not seeing that. We're seeing the exact opposite. So again, can we get our 10 pips? Odds are yes. This moves so smoothly that you would be hard pressed not to, unless you're on AFX, get your 10 pips to push back up real quick. Let's see. We're still no arrow. Yeah, you'll get your 10 pips. I mean, reasonably well if you took a buy here. I just don't love it personally, because if you look at what you're doing on the 5-minute time frame, yeah, you've got this kind of touch and rejection, but you're up against structure. So just to show you how I see it, You're up against structure. And you have enough, especially on this pair, you have enough. So even if you failed that by half, can you get your 10 pips on a reentry? Odds are in favor. But look what you're seeing down here. Down here, you've got kind of the buyers are still in control. That's good. The slow MACD is really pushing outside of that. We really want that to be kind of smothering. But that's your reentry right there. That's happening right now. And that's it. On the 1 minute time frame. It's pushing back down, but that's an engulfing candle, right? I wanted to push down a little bit before I took any personally. And since I can't manage it for 10 pips and talk to you guys, I'm not really taking any re-entries. I'm only taking original entries. It's hard to manage and talk
Just
to
got
you.
an arrow on the 1 minute.
Huh?
Just got an arrow on the 1 minute. I guess that's the 50 cross.
That's the 50 cross, I think. I'd have to confirm, but yeah. You got an arrow to
Bias change. You're set the same time frame bias on your MACD, aren't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Right.
You have enough room for 10 pips. I just can't manage it personally and talk.
Yeah, I took a buy.
Yeah, I did too. I'm up at 7 right now, 8.
So
I
protect.
got,
9.
I'm out. I got 12.
Yeah, I'm out too.
10.
Just make sure you protect it though. If it breaks this fractal, you'd want to see it break and retest. And yes, we're not allowed to talk about that, but that would be another entry. If we break that zone, we need to break up with a closed body candle, retest that line. Okay. And of course, it's going to be giving us the same kind of 3 and 9 cross or some kind of confirmation, and that's it. And you'll get, I think most days we get our 30 to 50 pips pretty easy. Today we're kind of talking, which kind of goes with the territory. But I want you guys to really understand this, and then we'll move on. So show, for the people who have messaged, for the people who brought it to the attention, and for the people who have brought it up in the group, here's what you're looking for. I think ultimately I'm going to say this, multiply this for your target to calculate lot size. So this very, very important line right here, make sure that's not set to 1. Have that set to 2. And you can have your stop loss also set to 2. And remember, these are just targeted areas, but it's going to help you control that lot size by a lot, by a whole stinking lot. S&P just made a higher high on the 15-minute time frame. Gives you a really good idea of where NAS is going to go.
So you're saying the one that says calculate lot size need to be set to 2.0.
Yep. So the one that right here, it says multiply this ATR for target to calculate lot size. Okay.
Right.
Don't have that set at 1.
Okay.
So Catherine recommended having it set the same as a stop loss for a risk-based reward, for risk-based trading. You guys know I don't trade risk-based trading. I trade reward-based trading. I think psychologically it's much more beneficial personally, but that's just my opinion. You can have it set the same. So stop loss and take profit. This would be that yellow dot and the red dot. But if you do that, that will kind of lessen the blow of the fluctuation in that ATR based lot size. And then ultimately, if you're following that lot size to compound in the next 50 or 60 trades, which some of you guys are getting really good at doing, but when you hop between time frames, you're making mistakes. So now that you can see that you can grow to that 20 or 30,000 bucks, you have to, the first tip or trick I can give you is stop looking at dollar amounts, because it gets scary when you get to 20,000 bucks. But that's the break I'm talking about. That's awesome.
Now, that will not stop the fluctuation in ATR based lot size calculation. I mean, that's built in because ATR is not a bug, it's a feature. Because what we're doing is we're adjusting how much we're risking for how volatile the market is. So as the market expands and we get bigger movements, we want to be able to not have outsized risk with that movement. And so reducing our lot size when volatility expands is a good thing. And increasing our risk and decreasing our target size and stuff is a feature for when you're trading tighter markets. You don't want to have really fat targets and stop losses when the market isn't moving much.
True. But wait a minute. So you're saying that if we multiplied that number by 2, it's not going to cut the lot size in half?
Yes, it will cut the lot size in half, but it will still fluctuate.
Okay, that's all I'm trying to do is cut the lot size in half.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think I'm wrong. I could be, but it won't.
No,
change
that will happen. It will
fluctuation.
cut the lot size in half.
It will cut the lot size in half, and then that doesn't eat up the margin, and then it gives a little bit more room for the differences between like the 1 minute and the 5 minute, right? So instead of it like, it won't go from a 0.5 on NAS 100 to a 0.02. It won't fluctuate as much because the volatility, the lot size is cut in half.
Right. Well, you don't have much resolution in the lot size when you get down, depending on your account size. If you've got a small account, you're showing on there less than 0.01, which means that 2 ATR at the moment, well, you haven't saved this yet. So whatever your previous settings were, it means that you didn't have enough capital to even give you, it was exceeding the risk that you had specified. So when it says less than whatever, that means that your risk is bigger than what you've specified in your lot size calculations.
Okay. So do you think that having them set it to a 2.0 for the multiply this for the lot size, and then of course in terms of risk percentage of growth, keep this at a cap of no more than 4 of the highest, that would help them maintain that lot size to be an actionable tool they can use?
Right. But the important thing is to not get confused as you look at the 5 minute with a lot size also, because that will be based on the 5 minute ATR, which is a completely different calculation.
Yes, I think that's the problem too.
So you can turn off the lot size on the 5 minute if you wanted to.
Well, I'm hoping they go back to one chart, but for now, I just want them to see it the proper way. That's why we have 2 up.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is that if you're trading on the 1 minute chart, use the 1 minute lot size calculation, not the 5 minute. Otherwise, you're taking outsized risk. Unless you're managing on the 5 minute.
True. Does that help everyone who brought that up and had that attention? Because it works really well. The lot size will help you. It will benefit you exponentially, but you got to understand how to work it and how to use it. And it is a little complicated, but it's doable.
Okay. One quick question on that lot size.
Okay.
Scott, is that calculated based on the money in your account? Or
Yes.
is it, okay. So it reads that and then it'll adjust as you make more money, your lot size will automatically adjust.
You're right. I think that's how it's usable for compounding.
Okay.
So I'm trying to remember what the settings were on that. I'm just going to go quickly take a look at mine here. On some of my things, yeah, you can use equity or account balance. It's right now it's set to account balance, so that's going to be closed trades is what you're doing against. You can set it to being equity, which means that you are taking into account open profit and losses.
Okay.
So that is a choice that you have to make. Right now it defaults to using the account balance.
Okay.
Unless you're
But
really
remember that if you got multiple trades on, you are stacking your risk.
Okay. Jenny, what would you say is the best settings for compounding?
it depends on your accuracy. So if you're Craig, and I know that his accuracy on all 3 of my strategies is like 80% and above, 90% on some, I would say, depending on your broker and your leverage, you can do 10, 15%. But if you're averaging, if you don't know your own accuracy, you shouldn't be using it. Like, and that sounds a little blunt, but it's the reality. So if you're not tracking your trades to know what your accuracy is, let's say over the past 2 weeks with this strategy, with the triple arrows, or with anything, then you're not at a point where compounding is going to be effective for you. The only way compounding will be effective for you is if you can go back and say, okay, so in the past 3 weeks, I've taken these trades, I've dragged and dropped them. The ones I was wrong on, I know why and how to not do that. The ones I was right on, it was because I followed rules and it wasn't a gamble and it wasn't a guess. So I understand what I'm doing. When I understand that my accuracy is for like the triple arrows, 1 hour fractals, for the rosy thing or flip flop thing, really anything else, 70 some odd ish percent is enough, provided your risk to reward is 2 to 1 or greater. 70% accuracy is enough to still compound. But on this, you need to have, if, as long as you can manage your risk to be a 2 to 1, which is harder, it's more closer to 1 to 1 in most cases. You're looking for a 1 to 1 risk to reward ratio in scalping, and that's probably the best you're going to get. Otherwise, it's going to be against your favor. So you need to know what you're doing. And I'd say you need an accuracy of 80, 85% to know that you can compound effectively.
Okay.
You can also, once you know what your trade accuracy is, you can go search for a risk of ruin calculator. There's a risk of ruin, risk of drawdown calculator that's out there. I think it's on FXJ website, but you can't search for it on the website. You search for it on Google, you'll get there. You put in your percentages, you put in, your risk reward ratios and things like that. It will tell you what is the risk of blowing your account given a certain type of percentage risk. And what is your risk of drawing down your account, 50%, 20%, whatever you put into the calculator. And it can calculate it 2 ways. There's a formula based, and then there's a Monte Carlo simulation based, which does it more like the market does. It's sort of random numbers that it pulls up, that this went up this far, that far, and came down and up and down and up. And you can run it multiple passes and kind of get an aggregate number, which gives you a good idea of how your strategy and your trading accuracy is going to fare with your account at a given percentage risk. But you need stats to make that work. Otherwise, you're just, blindly shooting numbers into something, and it won't be of much value besides some playtime.
Hey, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
It's Elliot. How you doing this morning?
Wonderful. And yourself? I'm looking at other pairs for a trade, guys. Since most people kind of made
Could you just, since I'm brand new, could you just go over the re-entry on the 1 minute? Is that just the cross in the right direction and the MAC breaking the 0 line in the right direction? And you don't look at the ADX at all, or what?
The ADX is my go-to. It keeps me out of ugly trades. Okay.
Right.
So the ADX is below the 25, where you get this consolidation kind of yucky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We want to stay out of that. So for re-entry, like without looking and shifting around, I want that fast MAC to either A, have retested the 0. Okay. So like right here, we break this kind of thing, or came back down, kind of pointed back up. This didn't get really close to the 0 line. So not as appealing, but still possible, right? Again, not as appealing, but still possible. You need that pullback in the fast MACD just to show you how I see it. A 3 and a 9 cross, ta-da, great. We get a 3 and a 9 cross and a break of structure. I'm very, very turned on by that one. This one is kind of a touch and rejection, so no cross. But again, we get a break of structure. This one that interacts with the 50, great. So in this case, remember, we drew this line, this orange line, based off of this original entry. So most of us, we can't predict when the market moves. Today, guys, it happened to move a little early. Oh, well, we can't control it. Having said that, usually we'll get one good push. Sometimes that's this push we retested. So we did come back and touch the 50, just to give you an idea of what that looked like on the 5 minute. And then you get a couple of re-entries. So that's 1, 2. So that's 1, 2, 3 entries. That's it. That's all I need. 3 entries on average is 50-ish pips, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I can do that 1 to 3 times a day. That's it. So that's what you're looking for. If you don't have this actually just happened, so go back in history, this happened here. I was sleeping because I like to sleep at nighttime. Let's see. This happened here. What time frame? That was 11:35. Oh, that's silly. Okay.
Looks like NAS may be setting up for another buy. It's pushing up.
It's pushing up. Okay, let's take a look.
Just crossed the 50 again.
For a buy, huh? 11:35. It's gonna take me a minute to find that. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's just pushed above the 50 again, all.
Okay, let's take a look at what he's seeing. So do we have enough room? If it breaks this fractal, that line, that really pretty line that kind of comes built in with this, you don't even have to have your fractal levels on here. That's because Scott's kind of a little mini genius. You can get your 10 pips out of it. But at this point, we're playing in a zone. We've missed the major moves. So I know everyone's like fiending and wants it, but sometimes we miss the moves. And today the move happened real early because it's Thursday and they had, I believe, the jobless claims and then a few other pieces of news. So
The ADX looks low to me.
ADX is pointing down currently. We're again interacting, but we don't have enough confirmation. If we break that, can I get my 10? Probably. But do I love it? No. We're in neutral territory. If we go over here, we didn't make a much higher high, so we're not really pushing up anymore. You've got a railroad top in terms of candle formation. But again, these are risky kind of trades. No, the odds are, can you get your 10 pips? Probably. They're just not the best 10 pips. So to tell you that you want the best 10 pips, well, actually, S&P is making higher highs. So that tells you a lot about what NAS might do. S&P hasn't quit making higher highs. So there's your break, 10 pips, if you're going to get it.
Sorry if that was loud. I just got called to work.
You got called to work. Lucky you.
But I say it's does it need a, well, my bar has just changed. It broke.
It broke. Don't chase it. Watch it. Learn from it. Okay. Again, if you enter on time the second it broke that, you got your 10. Well, you're just about to get your 10 pips, give or take. If you protected it, you're good. But we don't want to chase it. Learn from this one. Okay. From where that bar broke, yeah, you got about 10 pips. But this isn't a good. We want more confirmation. So where ADX is kind of low. Thank you, Barbara. We do have an arrow, but the slow MACD is kind of pointing down, and we're at this kind of area. I want to see it. I want to see something that's still moving. Does that make sense? Like right now, we just don't have it still moving. So the 3 and the 9 cross would be a better entry, slightly faster. But we didn't have enough oomph. We weren't still above the 50 to get us. This is designed ingeniously. It's really designed brilliantly. So the reason you didn't get an earlier arrow is because it didn't happen above the 50. It really is designed super well. Sometimes that's the way it goes. So that's it is.
Hey, Jenny, you were talking about the early entry this morning. The first entry on the 3 cross and the 50, wasn't that the 5 minute still be wouldn't it still be low on the 5 minute? Was that still a good entry?
I'm sorry, can you say that? US news in 2 minutes, so you may be able to trade a breakout. Thank you, Ricky. I will answer your question in just a second, but real quick about the news. What news is coming out in 2 minutes? Does anybody know? I honestly don't know today.
You got Fed Chair Powell speaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a drib drab of news. The chairman speeches, as he says actionable things, then feeds will go out. So it'll be little, jerky movements.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then trade accordingly, guys. We might have just missed it. It happened a little earlier today. So make sure everyone's question gets answered and decide on a competition to start and let you guys study that up. But we found one entry, but that's not bad. This one, most of y'all probably didn't take. But real quick, so the person who asked the question about the fast entry, can you go over that again? Can you ask your question again?
Yes. This morning, when the 3 crossed the 50 on the 1 minute, it was still below the 5 minute. The 5 minute was still below the 50.
So this is 1530. Ready?
Yeah. Some way. Yeah. That entry right there.
So no, this happened at the same time.
What's that?
Actually, he's correct. The 1530 candle starts at 1530 and would end at 1535. So 1535 would be when the 5 minute candle comes up. Right there. Check the levels. Check the horizontal level. You'll find that they should be the same.
Okay, so that's the beginning of that candle. So since this candle technically has 5 minutes in it, you're not wrong. You're good. But we're pointing this out. So at that time frame, so let's say you caught it here.
What I'm asking is, when it crossed the 50 on the 1 minute, is that a good trade, or do you wait until the three cross the 50 on the 5 minute?
A lot of you guys are taking 1 minute crosses, which as you guys can see work. The problem is enough times that doesn't work. So if you were only going for 10 pips, here, I'll maximize this screen. If you were only going for 10 pips, only 10, and as in you never try to ever get more, okay? Ever. And notice the evers. There's lots of evers. Can you do that? Absolutely. Can you have some success? Absolutely. But the amount of discipline it takes. So let's take this baby move down here. You have to be able to pinpoint, I got in now, I got in immediately, I got my 10. And of course, you need a rule that says if price closes on the other side of that 8 moving average, I'm getting out immediately. Win, lose, or draw, that's my kill switch, I get out. So can it work? Yes. But look at the times. So this right here, this technically the 3 crossed above the 50, right? So just kind of giving you an idea, binary control, everything's facing up. You've got multiple arrows in terms of a single time frame entry. Whereas we know technically this is a pullback on a downward trending market. So that's what you're seeing. This is a pullback. This is a pullback
Right.
on a downward market. So can you have some success with that? Yeah, you can. But you have a lot of moments like this. So there's one. So if you're willing to at least draw a trend line and say, hey, this is probably just part of the downward trend, so I'm going to wait for it to retest and break below. If you can do that, you'll have a lot more success with taking 1 minute entries. At least draw your own, don't use the tool that I gave you guys, draw your own trend line, and you'll be able to do it just fine. So this one too, you have a few breaks below, which are kind of nice. Most of these would win. This one would lose. That would win, that would win, that would win, that would win, that would lose. And then every other one would win. So just to give you an idea, it's very doable. But you have to have the discipline to take the losses and the psychological ability to do so without freaking out.
Okay. One other question on that. When it on the breaks, when the candle is breaking below and the 3 is breaking below with the candle, do you wait till that candle close, or do you take it when the candle is pushing through and the 3 is following it?
I promise you that candle is typically, I don't want to say it's always closed when the 3, but it's almost always closed when the 3 crosses. It's almost always, you have at least one close below the 50.
Okay.
And the 3 crosses, like almost always. You're almost never going to get one without the other. So here, almost never. You push down, almost never going to get one without the other. Like, not to say it can't happen. I'm sure really smart people are going to prove me wrong, but almost never are you going to get like it kind of touched and just rode the line and it wicked down and then it wicked back up. You'll get stuff like that, but very rarely.
Okay, so you wait till that candle, you have a closed candle and that 3 is definitely below, and before you take that.
And if you want to take 1 minute entries, it's very painful to do. You can do so, but you have to first off draw a trend line. So only take ones in the same direction as the trend line.
Right.
And second off, only take them when the slow MACD is on the same side. It will keep you, it's hard on this one because that means this one that would have won, you might have waited too long. Okay, to now it would definitely lose, but it's going to keep you out of a lot of ugly ones. It's going to keep you out of a lot.
Okay.
It will keep you out of this one altogether. Well, nope. It'll get you in too many of them. It'll keep you out of this one, the biggest one that would definitely lose. It will keep you out of this one. So it'll keep you out of enough of them if you just follow the slow MACD signal line.
Okay.
If you're looking for just the 1 minute entry as a no 5 minute confirmation, you can do that. But we'll see.
I want the 5 minute too, but I'm just saying this morning, the 1 minute, it gave that cross for the big move, and then in the 5 minute, you were still below the 5 minute. So
I like the 5 minutes. So to be transparent, last I kind of set up an alert for the 3 and the 50 and the 8 and the 50 and a few other things. I get an alert a few times a day. Sometimes I get some noise, but most time it doesn't matter. I check my trade, I take my trade, I manage my trade, and I go on with my day. And it takes very little time and it makes a ton of money, like a lot of money, which is why you guys are here. So I know we love hanging out. We talk about vegan food and we hang out. We joke about, dancing and everything in between. But ultimately, you're here for money and hopefully making a difference, all that good stuff. So make some money. And I'm telling you what works. It's not because Jenny says so, but I'm telling you it works. The
Okay.
5 minute is effortless. Like you do need a few $100. It's harder to do if you don't have a few $100. I'm not gonna fib. You need some room in that account. But it's what you're here for. So go get the money. Go make it happen.
Now,
Or
there's another way to think about the time frames and what the difference is in the time frames. And that is that, what we're trading as traders is the price. The price just moves up and down, up and down. And the time frame that you're looking at it on is really kind of like a moving average. What you're saying is that how much did price move during this snapshot of time? And so as you go to higher and higher time frames, there's more and more smoothing.
Okay.
you can get a sell even just to here. You'll get your 10 pips out of it. You cross below 50. It's not my favorite entry, but you guys can sell for 10 pips pretty reasonably well.
Okay. Oh, Jenny, you said you like the 5. One question on that. Are you looking at the next higher time frame for your confirmation on the 5, or are you just trading the 5 only?
Just the 5 minute only.
Okay.
Just the 5 minute. And this is extremely simple. Very, very simple. I mean, it's not always going to work. You're going to get some chop, but you'll just get a lot less chop on the 1 minute than you do the 5. I took that entry for that sell.
I think you said that backwards of what you wanted to say.
Exactly. I caught that too.
Okay, what did she say backwards?
She meant to say you'll get a lot less choppiness on the 5 minute than you will get on the 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
Not to say you don't get some. See, you guys understand me. You guys are so good.
Yep, and that's what I was talking about.
You
is the 5
converted
minute acting
us.
like a moving average. The slower your moving average, the less chop there is on it. Look how smooth the 50 is relative to the 3.
Well, why was there a sell on the 1 minute, or why did we take a sell there?
This is the 5 minute.
Oh, we took a sell on the 5 minute?
No, this is the 1 minute. Do I like it? No, but did you get your 10 pips? Yeah.
Why did you take this? What was the sell? What was the reason for it?
Okay, so you got your 3 and you broke the 50. We broke a fractal level. Momentum is up. Sellers are up. Fast is down. New arrow. Slow is down and breaking the 0 line. So there's no reason that even if you got in late, you did not get your 10 pips protected.
Okay, so you took it on the fractal break. Is that what you took the sell?
No, I don't want to teach that. So no.
It was a confluence of a lot of factors.
Oh, okay.
Confluence of factors. See, these gentlemen, they say it better than me. Confluence of factors. You have a 3 and a 9 cross. We broke the 50. We definitely broke structure. So I don't want to call this a fractal. I'm going to call this Scott's magical line.
Okay.
So we never have to call it fractals again.
DJ won't be banging his head on the wall.
Williams will be fading into obscurity.
So Scott's magic line, we broke that.
Okay.
Perfectly. We've got a beautiful cross. Momentum was kind of down and it aimed up hard. Fast is below. So fast kind of came back up, retouched below. Fresh arrow and your slow is down. You've got your pips. So I think, hold on, how many pips is that up? Right now, that's up 37 pips from where it was first called. 37 pips. Okay. That's doable. So 2 calls on a not perfect morning, we'll take it. Protect.
There's also an engulfing candle right there too.
This candle.
Hey, Jenny, question.
Hey, Woody.
How often, or maybe never, so we broke that a previous structure that we were talking about, the Scott's magical line.
Okay.
And then if you look just lower left, right, we also broke that other one. Do you ever trade those if it breaks that next one down?
This one?
Yes, yeah, that right there.
Well, again, so what are we having? So let's go to the 5-minute time frame. We're probably going to be interacting with the 50. This is actually an engulfing candle. This one currently, this one wasn't. I guess it is. It's an engulfing candle. It engulfed, it's twice the body of that one. So 5-minute time frame, we're interacting with this 50. You have to have an accumulative view of this market. So you should be out of that trade now. It came back up, but we knew it would retest this area. So now you got to wait and decide. Would I take the fact that it broke below that? Yes, I would. But remember, the cool thing about Scott's magical line and not a fractal is now we don't have to go back and like see the fractals here and here and here and here, which I think are distracting many. And I like fractals. I love fractals. I think that they're one of the better ways to trade because you're always going with trend. But it's also one of the easiest things to get tripped up on, especially with scalping. So if we take this fractal break based off of here, so we broke. We also, especially being NAS, could, and news coming out, could come all the way back up to here. So 50 pips against us. We don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
So let's skip it. Don't take it based off of that.
Okay.
That's how we chase a trade. And I do it. I've done it. You've seen me do it live. Shame. And it works. The truth is it works, but it's not duplicatable. It won't work regularly enough to give you the results you want. So skip it. And that takes discipline, especially when you see this happening. It's moving. Well, I didn't get in. I should have listed. Well, somebody else listed and I missed all that money and it broke. So I'm going to take it. And then of course, what happens? It goes against you 50 pips and you were right. It drops 100, but you couldn't hold that drawdown. So we don't want that.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, we found 2 entries on a not perfect news ridden morning. I'll take it with a smile.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Jeannie.
Yes, sir.
I've got a couple of questions on the indicator. On your, I guess it's the buy line there where it's moving right there where the candle is, at the 2 lines. Where can I find that at? You know what I'm talking about?
No. This?
No, go up, right, down, no, down, right. Well,
Look like he's talking about the bid ask lines.
yes, the bid ask line. I'm sorry.
This?
Yeah, where you got the 2 right there together, it shows right where the candle's at.
Looks like tweezers.
Oh, this. I think I can share that. That's actually, that's the spread. It shows you the spread.
Okay.
I'm
And
pretty sure it's not coded.
the other thing is the little arrow you got on there. Is that from the SuperEZ?
So it's the same as a SuperEZ. So I just have it set to my my doohickey. So it's just the 3, the 8 and the 33. I like it. It's kind of the foundation of how a lot of my trading strategies work. So I like it. Crossover arrow. We'd probably get 10 pips on this sell. 8 and 33. There you go. It's the same as the SuperEZ arrow. Okay.
Would that be the entry arrow on the SuperEZ that would be the 9 and the 33, you say?
No, you'd have to program it yourself, and it would be the little yellow
arrow.
Yep, the little yellow arrow, and you have to program in 8 and 33.
8 and 33. Okay, thank you.
And you'll notice it happens around the same time as that 3 and 50 cross. It's very comparable. It lines up exponentially well. Kind of fancy dancy. Very fancy. But like anything else, we proved to ourselves that everything works when really, yeah. That's all.
The reason I ask about that ask and bid thing, for some reason, I don't have a line where price is on my chart. I see that moving on the far right, but as far as the line where you said the line goes all the way across as it's moving, I can't seem to get mine to work that way.
We're pushing. Okay, we might get a breakout, which would be worth your last 10 pips, which means we did okay. Not bad. Okay, so that's going to be in your settings. What broker? Are you on AFX?
Oh, ma'am, I'm on CoinX.
Huh, CoinX doesn't usually have that problem. Let's see if we can help you. Bear with me while I'm waiting for a move. So I'm waiting to see what this is going to do.
Chris, you probably set your grid to none for color in your property settings.
Yes, that is correct.
Yep. So what to do is set your grid back to the light gray, and then you do a Control G will turn your grid on and off.
Okay. I'm doing that now. Thank you.
because that line is the same color as the grid.
And now we're getting our
uses
break.
that.
Okay.
It's sort of the same thing with the buy line. You know, if you open an order and you get
Are
a
you
green
selling
line
it?
across, that's the same as your volume color.
To the 50, yeah.
I'm
Are you
selling.
You said
Are we-
control.
Are we
control
selling?
D. Okay. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
Are we
selling?
we were selling at that Scott magic line break, I think, right?
Scott's Magic Line. Now we got all these names and funky stuff. I don't even do this, but now I'm making up all these names. So this is what we're seeing on the 1 minute, guys. On the 1 minute, if we're looking for the next form of structure, okay, this isn't like super fancy. This isn't super hard. We're just looking for the next place price went. So I'll zoom back out. Trading in the zone is kind of super simple. This is the 1 minute we broke below. Can you get your 10 pips? Absolutely. Are we probably going to interact with that 50 on the 5 minute? Yes. If you haven't entered because we were talking, wait for this candle to kind of pull up a little bit because odds are it will. And then all you're going for is a 10 pip in that drop. Keep mindful of news. Protect even a few pips. It's very, very simple. Got a little bit too much of a wick down by this 50. Not super in love with that, but I still believe that we can kind of get our pips from where price is currently at. That's 20 pips just to interact with the 50. So to get your 10 pips, very doable. If we do kind of get it to bounce down, better.
So Jenny,
Hey,
you just been trading off the 5 minute with the NAS 100.
yes.
Okay, cool.
It's so much less stress. Like for
I
in 1 minute.
Understand.
That 1 minute, like, because then I blink and like my kids talk to me and something happened, and now I'm like, seriously.
Exactly.
Annoying.
I understand. That's gonna have to switch over. Thank you.
I can't do that
Just
one.
understand that on the 5 minutes, you're going to have to withstand some bigger drawdowns.
Yes, yes, of course. But then the lot size is also different.
Yeah.
True. But if you're trading a small account, the 5 minute might be a little too rich for your blood.
So when you say small, what do you mean by small?
$100, $200.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
You got your 10 pips out of that. That last call, you got your 10 pips out of it.
Yeah, we got all kinds of people on here, so I just say that
Yes.
stuff to be careful.
Yes, understand. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to mislead anyone either.
Okay, so you got your 10 pips on that last call. You have 10 pips. If not, make sure you protect it. I protected 6. But real quick, just so you guys know, the 5 minute, I'm going to erase these lines that we drew. Okay. It's not as much drawdown as you guys think. So yes, Scott's job is to be, and I love how much we protect our group, our family, and we're really good at that. But just to give you an idea, if you're taking the entry at the right time, and at first that takes some finesse, you shouldn't, in theory, have a bunch of drawdown. But you do need to have a couple $100 in that account. I mean, I'd say 2 or 3. So let's take an ugly entry, not a perfect one. Even this one, if you have very, very simple rules, so that's 40 pips in your favor. Let's take this really ugly, not good one. Ugly, ugly. No bueno kind of one. That's less than 20 pips. So this is a very worst case scenario kind of trade. If you take this, yes.
I was just gonna say, wouldn't you be looking to take one in the upward direction on that?
I know, but I'm trying to show the bad example. I would
okay.
the up again.
Okay.
But here's what somebody's going to see. Someone is not going to draw this trend line. They're not going to see, hey, price is moving up. This is just a pullback. They're going to see only what they chose to see, which is prices breaking the 50. So I want to show you, because most of the time people take this trade and they're not looking at anything else and they're following the most pedestrian level of rules.
Okay.
And that's okay. Yes, we are looking for the up one, but let's say you take the worst possible trades because that's where you're at mentally.
Okay.
If you always close it, the second price classes on the 8, your losses should be small and manageable. They should not be big. So let's say you got in here. Let's say you did not. Come on, silly booty. Okay. I know. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on that. That's 19 pips. in your favor. So if you didn't close it out or protect it, let's just assume that it was the case, and you waited until price closed on the other side of the 8, you still only lost less than 10 pips. This is the kind of management that your account is going to require. And then win, lose, or draw, it won't really matter. Win, lose, or draw, if your accuracy in terms of your overall set of 30 to 60 trades is good. Yeah, I like the 5 minute, did 9 trades today off of the 5 minute, Aisha. Like if your accuracy is good, it doesn't matter. Okay, so how did you take your 9 trades on the 5 minute? Help everyone out.
I waited for the 3 cross the 50.
Okay.
I have to move fast. And then I just took the re-entries on a 1 minute.
See, there you go. So 9 entries on the 5 minute. Did you win most of them, or how did you do? What was your accuracy?
I won all of them, no losses.
Then you, I'm assuming you protected them when they were in profit?
Yes.
Okay. That's what's possible. I don't want to like spit out names and name drop because everyone's all fussy, but some people are doing amazingly well just following the rules. I just want you guys to know that, okay? Like I get super excited. Super excited. Good job, Aisha. 9 trades, man. That's stinking awesome. Like really. Up 28 pips on that entry. It's protected. I only protected 6 pips. 28 pips is what I'm up. Not bad. Doable.
And also a reminder that the MACD indicator by default is set to next higher time frame. So if you're on the 1 minute time frame looking at your MACD indicator, that center bias line is telling you what's happening on the 5 minutes. So that is your 3.9 cross, or your 350 cross on the 5 minute.
Yes, I'd like to really show people how to use one screen, but I think everyone was getting lost in terms of how to do the basic strategy. So I went back to 2 screens to show them this is what you're looking at.
Yep, and I do understand why you're doing it, and it's just a reminder for those folks who've been around for a while.
Absolutely. No, I'm on the same page. I appreciate you. Well, we got our 3 entries barely by the hair of my chinny chin chin, but we got 3 entries on a crazy morning. So that's not bad. Did anybody take those 3 entries? I know it's kind of fast paced and haphazardous, but did anybody take some of those and gain some pips?
I got 2, Jim. I did.
I did.
I did.
I took just 1.
Okay.
I took 2.
Okay.
I took 3.
Good job, Barbara. That's my girl. See, she hears me. I know she hears me. Okay.
Oh, hey, Jenny.
Hey, Elliot. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to ask the cross of the 3 and the 50 on the 5 minute. Can you take the trade as it crosses and the candle's not closed yet, or do you wait for the candle to close?
You have to create your own rules for that. So remember, there's everything in life is kind of like a give and take, right? Everything is a give and take. So bear that in mind. So if you take it early, you risk the fact that it could wick down and just go against you.
And
But again,
bounce off, right?
with good management is you shouldn't be deathly afraid of losses. Notice how like when Pat takes his, like I haven't been on his calls in forever, to be honest, but I got on his call yesterday. Like he's looking at him, he's like, no big deal. Like, and he's super chill.
Right, he is.
Take those losses and just be super chill. Like we're going to take some losses. Ooh, and they hurt, especially when you're up here, man, it's hard. When you're the one giving the trade, man, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Super chill level. There is a contagious aspect to taking it when as soon as it happens, because then again, getting your 10 pips is easy as, you know, sweet apple pie, I think is what Derek says, and you're done. And then you would just be looking for re-entries on the 1 minute, then you're good. But you have to make that decision, and I can't make it for you because I don't know if you even have the capacity to hit close this trade when price closes on the other side of that 8. If you don't have that ability, don't do it. Just don't. Wait for everything to line up.
Hey, Jen, when are Pat's calls? I haven't been on one of those calls yet.
Oh, you have to. Tuesday, Wednesday in the morning at 9 a.m. He's a trip, so you have to go on there.
Is it a Zoom? Does he send out a Zoom like you?
He used to do.
He is doing Zoom now. He is doing Zoom now. It's great. I was there yesterday.
But does he send out the alert? Like
yes, he does. Yes, he does. And not in We the People, but you'll be able to see it in the other room. But
he's the boss.
Yeah, he's a blessing. He makes me laugh. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
Does anybody know the name of the rooms? Because I don't even think I'm in that room.
How can you wait, Terrence? You have to be in that room because it's the SuperEZ group, or you wouldn't be in this room.
There you go. Super easy.
Really?
Super
Yeah,
easy.
he's the basic boss.
Okay.
He puts it in the
Notification channel.
It's the notification channel.
Just
Okay.
ask him why is he wearing a baseball cap, and that'll start it off right.
Everything we do in here is still ran through SuperEZ. So like, you can't be in here if you aren't part of SuperEZ. Donna's in charge of all that, so she can assure you that no one in here is not part of SuperEZ. So I give my word, my commitment that I was going to work with Pat and the team, and I love the people, and I see a bigger vision. Granted, we've all got sidetracked and now have a pandemic, but ultimately we see a bigger vision, a vision where we can do some good works in between all the money, which is a blessing, but to do good works. So you're definitely part of it. Donna's yelling at you. She's yelling at you again.
Jen?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to tell you, when you first joined SuperEZ, you have to join the Telegram groups from the website, just like you did with the Signals channel. So that's I have to see here. Did you do?
No, I think I'm here. I have two. I have a SuperEZ Signals and a SuperEZ Discussion, I think it's called.
No. The when you first join for the regular membership for the $2.99, go to that for the there's Telegram group on the website in there.
Okay.
It might be archived. You may want to go in your archives on your Telegram. It may be in there.
Or just way down if you haven't been looking at it. You'll see SuperEZ Forex is kind of the main discussion one, and then there's SuperEZ notifications.
Oh, I don't think. Okay.
And
You better, she's gonna kick you out.
If you ain't part of it, I'm about to kick you out.
Yeah, those are the first steps.
What's your name, number, and serial number?
I love our group.
Yeah, those are the first.
Donna got the magic sword.
I'm on it.
You're on my list of people to watch.
If you're old enough, she's the daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, yeah, I know Obi-Wan.
Let me tell you something very clearly. She does have a list like that, just so everybody knows. She's just mean. I'm not even kidding. Nothing but mean. We're just playing with you guys. Well, guys, we found 3 trades. I will maybe look for one more. So this is the 1 minute chart, 5 minute. We barely by the chin of our chinny chin chin. Tomorrow, I think that Ricky has been my hero today, telling me about how news is going to be. Oh, and that was Craig. He said tomorrow will be quieter because it's a bank holiday. What bank holidays is tomorrow? Does it?
I think it's Easter, isn't it? It's Easter this weekend.
Well, I know about Easter. I just didn't know about bank holidays.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, tomorrow's Good Friday.
Yeah. Oh, tomorrow's Good Friday. I knew that.
Pretty much globally.
My head. My mother would kill me right now. Oh Lord. That's bad.
You are forgiven.
Oh no, I'm not telling her that. I'll make sure I make fish, okay? I'll make lots of fish for tomorrow. And then she will not have to know. But okay, well, I didn't know tomorrow was a bank holiday too, though. I didn't know banks were closed. So if banks are closed, we're gonna skip a session. Here's the dealio, guys. You have, I don't know, bajillions of hours of us talking and laughing and everything from every level of life sharing. You guys have everything you need. It's a lot to go through, but here's the idea. Go through as much as you can, because Sunday night I will announce what the competition will be, how you'll enter, how you'll win. And ultimately, I'm just looking to put some cash. PayPal's easier for me. Amazon just takes all that effort. Plus, we all know they're kind of shipping pretty slow, but PayPal's pretty easy. So ultimately, what I will do is I will do, again, the same kind of concept, but we'll do 5 prizes this time. And this time, we'll also, anybody who wins that will kind of be part of a little exclusive group going over that fractal break strategy one more time, and where I can work with you one-on-one kind of in that big group will be the prizes, and of course cash prizes as well. So That's all we're going to be doing. But what I'm looking to see is the people who can take entries. They got to have some strength. You got to share them. So if you can take them, but you can't share them, then you're not doing anybody any good. So I'm looking for people who can follow the rules. So I don't care if you mess it up by 90%. I don't care if you fail it by 90%, because people will learn from your successes just as much as your failures. But I'm looking for how many entries we can find. And you can pick a GBP pair, you can pick NAS, you can even pick SMP, but how many entries we can find that, yes, we can go over live and we can share and people can learn from you and me and each other. That is what I'm looking for. Because ultimately, the people who are taking the good entries and are learning and adapting and following the rules, their accuracies are 80, 90%. Some are withdrawing 6 figures. Some of them are withdrawing $50,000. Some of them are having $10,000 days. And they didn't start with thousands of dollars. I think the person who had $10,000 day, they started with, I don't know, 1,500, I believe, but $10,000 in a single day. Do you think that you would have to work the rest of the week? Do you think that you could walk away if you made $10,000 in a single day?
You betcha.
But if you don't walk away, I mean, if you walk away, you don't have a chance to give it all back.
That's where people mess up.
Exactly.
You guys, if you hit 2,000, stink and walk away. Take the week off. Like, I don't know what your level is or what pays your bills this month, but whatever that is. So if you have $1,500 pays your bills this month and you hit that, you know what? Withdraw most of it and take the next few days off. Like, at some point you have to be, the Bible says, you have to be entrusted with what you're given, right? Prosper where you're planted. If you keep, and I've done it, I'm not judging you. I've been very, very imperfect. But if you give away 5, 10 grand 58 times, you are gambling. You are not being trusted with what you're given. So for those of you who are hitting that level, walk away. $10,000 pays your bills for a couple months and buys you a basketball hoop and whatever. So it helps a few people at the grocery store who did not have enough to buy milk. Do that, withdraw, maybe keep a little extra in there this time, keep 2,000 in there this time. But at some point, you guys have to learn how to say, hey, I did my part. I don't have to trade the rest of this week because, well, I made so much in the last few weeks that I could take several months off and just hang out. So anyways, long story short, that's my goal. Is I'm hoping you guys have some strategies you can share. So not some strategies. Sorry, I'm all flustered now. Long story short, I'm hoping you guys have some entries you can share. Okay. Just entries. Fair enough.
Again, I have a question. Does it matter if it's from the live or the what's the other account? Demo.
I don't care if it's in demo or live.
Okay.
I care that you can explain your entries. I care that.
Okay.
And I'm looking for that last push on NAS. I don't know if I'll take it or not, but I don't care if it's live or demo. I care that you're actively doing it. I care that you can explain why you took it and why you didn't. Now, look, I don't care if you won 50,000 pips on one trade, but it followed no rules and you had no reason to be in there. That is not good. But that's how people trade, is they're like, oh my gosh, I got this one. But there was like no rules to be met that actually said they should take that trade, right? I care that you know how to follow rules, because if you do that, you'll prove to yourself that in 30 trades, you'll lose, let's just say 3 or 4 break even. You're going to see, oh my gosh, this is honest to God possible. That's what we're trying to hope for, is to show you it's possible. Because it really is, like, life-changingly possible. When you guys get a hold.
Jenny, I have a question.
Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. And yourself? I'm new, first time listening to your call. I do not have your setup. I do not have your setup. I need to know how to go about getting this set up. I have the triple arrow system, but I don't have this.
Okay, so this is just kind of a co-pilot with the triple arrow system. Everything you need to know to set up this chart is in every video. It's in today's video. It's in yesterday's video. Tuesday's video. It's the best places to start. So very simple. I'll run through it one more time. This fancy MACD is in the group. And I'm going to do this kind of quickly, so I apologize.
Sure.
I hope you have pen and paper.
Yeah, I
But
do.
this is in the group. You will need to send an email with your SuperEZ registered email, and then they'll email you a code.
Okay.
That email goes into the indicator and the license server will send you the code. So it all happens within the indicator. And by the way, all of my indicators on the About tab of the indicator, which is the leftmost one, there's a link that goes to a website that explains how the licensing works. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so real quick, ADX is set at 10, which again, Scott has created another one that is easier for people to see. I do like the original. This is the original how it looks. Level
Okay.
is set to 25. And yeah, I'm kind of barreling through this, but this is all fairly simple. These are some cool gadgets, mostly by We the People. We try not to confuse the SuperEZ group, so we don't share the stuff in SuperEZ as per Pat to keep the triple zeros and then everything else kind of separate because we don't want to overwhelm those who are not ready to evolve. Like,
okay.
Moving beyond that, we've got a 3 and a 9 EMA. Those, I know what that word is. Yep. And a 50 SMA.
Uh-huh.
Okay, these fractal lines come with this indicator, so that's legit all you need. You don't even need any single thing else at all.
Okay, the ADX, and what is the other one? ME.
This is called the MACD. It's a
MACD.
S.
Okay. Is this a special MACD or is that the one that comes with SuperEZ 4?
No, this is a custom built, very different MACD.
Okay.
And that's it. And then from there, I'm sorry to be annoying, but you're probably gonna have to watch a lot of videos.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but I promise you, you're gonna see. There's a pin post that has like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's gonna be a lot to learn, but you can get really far if you're willing to learn it. So.
And We the People, I can get all that information.
Yeah, it's got a Google Drive in there. So as long as you're active and SuperEZ, then you have access to that group.
Yes, I am.
But it's got a pin post. It tells you every bit of instructions. It tells you everything. And then of course it has a Google Drive in there. So.
And within the Google Drive post, there's also some videos that are tagged in there, how to download indicators from the Telegram group. If you don't know how to do that, there are videos in there on how the that special MACD works. There's quite a bit.
Okay. Okay, MACD.
It also has Scott's personal number.
Thank you.
So,
Yes, you are welcome. Hey, that brings me to the last thing real quick before I forget. I know I mentioned it at the beginning. Guys, we want to be able to promote asking questions inside the group. So what that means is like ask questions inside the group. Like there's no fancy way to say that, even for me. Just we don't want to promote private messaging everybody. First off, especially any of the leaders, y'all get a ton of messages. We know it's an insane amount, but when you're willing to ask in the group, other people learn from you, and it gives the medium people, so not the advanced and not the new, a chance to hone in on their skills and knowledge and answer you. So we all kind of evolve at the same rate, different levels of the journey, granted, but the same rate. So please, please, please ask questions. If you happen to see any setups on NAS, on gold, on GU, on crypto, I hate the spread on crypto though. That is not a good spread. It's really bad. On crypto this weekend, then share that. Share a screenshot so people, more and more people will see it. I know Barbara's charts are fire. Anthony is creative. I know Catherine follows every rule to a T and is second to none in terms of following my strategy and giving me so much honor. So like every one of us in here has a lot to offer. So let's make sure that we're kind of posting screenshots. I know Aisha posts, so everybody who can post, please post. And that's about it. And then we'll figure out the competition and go from there.
And one other thing about stepping up is that one of the best ways to learn more in depth about what you're doing is to try teaching it.
That's what I was thinking, Scott. Yeah. But teach it inside the group. Obviously, don't sell it. Don't teach it outside of the group. Answer inside the group. Like,
please don't do it outside the group. Please don't.
So, yes.
Jen, I have one more question. I have FX Choice. I don't believe that they offer the NAS 100. So what do I do?
I think they do. I could be wrong.
They do, but you may want to consider another broker.
But I hate that broker though.
Yeah, why?
First off,
leverage
is really bad. Secondly, their withdrawal process, and
And they're always changing how you can fund your account.
Yeah, they're just
Oh.
not
So can you suggest a broker that I can
all
use?
those
That
brokers are in the pin post. Actually, and I will repin, I'll put CoinX back in there as well. So there's 3 brokers I would recommend. One of them is AFX. They have high leverage, higher spreads, but no commissions for like swing trades and triple arrow trades. That's a great
AFX.
go-to.
Okay.
And then I love Hugo's Way and CoinX for various reasons, but all those links are in the group. So please use the link.
Okay.
It's in the pin post.
Yep, it's in the pin post, and I'll pin in their CoinX too.
Okay, thank you.
It's a lot to read, but I promise you, you'll get there and you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the easiest strategy I've ever done in my life. ever. Especially on an indice, like it's life changing. Like it's insane.
Okay, I can see.
So,
Jenny.
how's it going?
Hi, Jenny. I was wondering, can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely, come on up.
I was wondering, when is a good time to start back trading after Easter holidays, like Bank Holiday Monday?
I think
Please?
Monday. I thought the bank holiday for Easter was Monday, but I forgot about Good Friday. So I don't know. I don't know if somebody else has some insight on that. But you have to think that with all the stuff going on economically right now, I'm sure there's going to be some extremely volatile moves. And since scalping, we're essentially trying to catch that volatility, you would be able to start trading back on Monday, provided it's open and volatile.
Monday, it looks as though we have Great Britain and Canada are both closed. So the London volume is going to be low, and that'll be moving into the crossover. New York will be opening.
That's what I thought was. So US is open on Monday. It's not a bank holiday.
Right.
Oh.
However, it is a holiday in Great Britain, and London is 60% of the Forex market.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I also think that London's what's pushing up our NAS 100 and our US dollar stuff. Our US dollar should not be going up, but that's just my very simple opinion. What do I know?
I know you think with all the unemployment rates,
Yep, and we're still going up all the time. You want to talk about market manipulation? That's it right there.
yes, ma'am.
Jenny,
Show me the money.
Mark, go ahead.
if it's a quick question, if not, we can do it next week. The device that you have that looks after your charts, it's not a VPN, it's something else you use.
I use a VPS.
A VPS. Can you elaborate on that briefly if you can?
So actually, yeah, that's a good question. So other than self-promotion, yes, Pat and I agreed early on when I started helping out with the group that I could use my links for brokers and for my VPS. I get a few bucks, you get a few bucks off. It's a win-win. Here's the deal, not about self-promotion. Whether you choose my VPS or any other, I highly recommend you guys start considering a VPS. But not only as you guys put real money in there, but the VPS, and I'm sure Scott is going to say some really smart thing that really trumps what I'm about to say. But let me say it in general, okay? A VPS is one more server that they have to go through to get through your stuff. So versus like it's on your IP address or whatever gets hacked. And I don't know squat about squat in terms of hacking stuff. Okay, I don't know. And I'll be honest and transparent about that. But there is a lot going on in terms of the hacker world. People are getting in from all kinds of accounts and internet-based stuff. Everything is slowing down. And when you talk about your money and your future and your livelihood on the line, it's definitely might be in your best interest to go ahead and say, hey, I kind of want, I want that added security. I want to know it's running. I want my own little piece of the pie there. So I would highly recommend you consider a VPS because they're a little safer in terms of how your stuff is being stored and used versus on your own system. Did I say that in an okay way, Scott? I know he probably knows more.
I kind of disagree with the premise of what you said, and it's only in that it doesn't change anything about whether you can be hacked or not. That is a completely different set of security concerns. What the real advantage of having the VPS is that somebody is managing that, and its power is retained or maintained during problems. It has a faster internet connection, and it just sits there and runs. Especially if you're running a trade manager, you can lose access to your VPS, and your VPS will continue to manage your positions.
Even if your computer crashes or does get hacked, then your stuff is still running and safe in the background. So
thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully they're all on tier 1 networks, but you never know.
And hey, Sean G, I've done a lot of work with Amazon, and I would never suggest Amazon's VPS.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to get off of it because all the exciting trades that you guys took this morning, I wasn't able to take because I don't know if it's yes, it is the VPS, and it also could be the broker KTO Forex. It's been very sluggish. So I didn't want to.
Don't use Amazon. Amazon takes all that information. I buy that information.
Okay, so you're using the VPN.
Miss Donna, will you post the link for the VPS, please, in the people group and then the discussion group, and I guess the SuperEZ group, and you can just say something along the lines of VPS to consider. Look, there are a lot of cheaper ones. There's a lot of good ones out there. I've tried about 5 or 6 myself. The only reason why I stuck with the one that I stuck with is because they have great customer service. They fix problems. They're mid-range price range. Not everybody can afford that, but for me, they were the go-to. There are others.
Now, if you're trading a single account, another not a bad option is MetaTrader actually offers, they offer VPSs where you can be trading on your own chart from your own computer and then just transfer everything to the cloud where it runs on the VPS. So you can hand off seamlessly one to the other because they have all your information from your chart setup. It's about $10 a month, but that's for a single account.
Okay.
Only one account. You can't get into anything else.
Right. So if you do Jenny's or one of the other Forex related VPS things, you can install as many platforms as you want on that server.
Which brings me to something else, Scott. I did talk to Pat a little bit, and he recommended that we limit the amount of licenses allowed per the MACD. But I'll go over some of that with you versus using an MQL lock, all that good stuff. So 6 is kind of a lot for any one person who's not me and doesn't have 8 brokers open at the same time.
Well, I've had a few people I've had to reset to bring them back in line because they went over their 6.
Yeah.
It's one of the big deals is the blowing of demo accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about
that. Makes sense.
Hey, Jenny,
so
I have a question
there's a
for
little
you.
bit of maintenance involved. You know, if we limit it to 2, then people have to be emailing for, you know,
it's going to
all
be
kinds of
manual.
reasons.
Yeah, it's going to be manually intensive.
That's Catherine here. For demo accounts, they actually could top it up, so they don't have to recreate new accounts if they blow the account.
Oh, hi, this is Y here. I tried to transfer my data from one account to another, and I just couldn't reset my demo, so I just had to set up a new one instead.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Now, AAFX, I know you can go in and refund with fake money a demo account.
Right.
Hugo's way, you can't.
Yeah, everyone has their own little system. I forgot how to do it with Hugo's way. I found a way, but I don't think it would. The regular user would probably not be.
You probably need to go through their customer service.
Yeah, which is not fun now.
No, it has not been. It has definitely changed. Okay, guys. Well, does that answer most questions, comments?
Hey, I have a quick question about the MACD indicator.
Okay, come on up.
Hey, so I'm looking at your MACD indicator, and I see the small arrow that's pointing up to the far right. On mine, that arrow is pointing down at the moment. Is that just a broker thing that controls how fast that switches, or?
No.
Jenny has switched to doing it as a single time frame arrow or single time frame bias, And you're
Okay.
probably still running the multi-time frame, the next higher time frame bias.
Okay.
A quick one for you, Jenny.
Yes, sir.
What is your favorite broker?
My favorite broker is Hugo's Way.
Hugo's Way?
I won't fib, that new chat is pretty annoying, but they've been good to me. Like the few times I've had any major problems, they've fixed it. Other than their new messaging service, which is a little creepy, they don't have the best, the fastest withdrawal ratio. They don't have the best of really anything. They're just the best in general. I think they have overall great withdrawal processes, overall great deposits, reasonable spread, reasonable commissions and stuff, except for on Euro Odd. Euro Odd is not good. Don't trade that pair on Hugo's Way. It's way too expensive. But I mean, overall, I just feel like it handles things the best. It has the best rewards, commissions, like in every way. They're very pleasing to me. Plus, they still let me use Zelle, which goes straight to my my
Oh no!
bank account.
Oh
So
my God!
what the Zelle?
Yes. Oh, I'm jealous.
I know, right? I'm pretty lucky.
Yes, you are.
That is, well, when they said they were changing it, I said, well, wait a minute, my bank account's been hooked to this for a long time. I'm an upstanding client like that. I'd really like to keep it. So Zelle is really nice.
I know.
It's not crypto required, so I don't have as much fees. So particularly with this little Hugo's Way account, I put a couple $100 in there and I grow it to 10, 18,000. I take it out, I play with it. Sometimes I blow it, but for the most part, especially if I put enough in there, so like more than 200-300, then it's so simple. It's like it's really, really nice. It's nice. I like that broker. And they're
Jealous.
stable. So they've been
Okay.
around, but not like AFX. AFX is great for swing trades though, because you have no stress with holding a trade. CoinX is good, but their website sucks. Their spreads are slightly better.
And their support too.
Okay, who do you trust most with your money? Like, who would you
I trust
leave?
Hugo's Way the most.
Okay.
By far. Like if you're talking big money, by far Hugo's Way.
Alert! Alert!
I'm looking for a sell on NAS 100. Let's see.
Question for Scott.
Okay, Scott, come on out.
Scott, I was using my AAFX with demo, and I had loaded up I have the license for the MACD on my AAFX. I don't have it on my Hugo's Way, but should the same, I know you said it's tied into my email, should the same license, my email account work for approval on my Hugo's Way, putting a
Yes, no problem. It's based on not who your brokers are, but how many account numbers.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments, concerns, dinner dates, anything at all exciting?
Have a wonderful weekend, Jen.
Hey guys, have an amazing weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
I have to consult my travel map.
I know, right? I want a travel map. It's not fair.
I love that post yesterday.
Oh man. All right, guys. Well, we're all at home, so none of us have plane tickets anywhere. That's pretty rude. Very rude.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
We do have some essential personnel on the line, so.
Oh Lord.
Now, some people got to hold down the fort, stand in the gap and take up the hedge. All working from home and your.
We don't want to know about your forts.
Jenny, we should be clear. So you're not going to meet tomorrow?
Well, let's see. We'll go live in the morning, but no hard feelings. So as long as the people who are on here understand that the market's not moving, the market's not moving. Don't come at me fussy, and then let's not try to force a move. I'm okay with hanging out. We can get questions answered or help set up whatever we can. I just can't promise there's gonna be a lot of moves. Last few Fridays there hasn't been, and tomorrow's a holiday, so.
Yeah, and honey, it's our anniversary.
I did.
Oh. Whoa. Anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And today is Passover.
Hey, happy anniversary. Was that Wendy?
Yeah.
Oh, Scott, do you need to be like, what are you gonna plan there?
Well,
Hello?
we were booked for Airbnb in Bisbee, Arizona, and we ended up canceling because of the whole shelter at home thing, and been trying to figure out what to do to make this special. So
play reruns of Dancing with the Stars.
Got what?
Carpet picnic, okay, poetry.
Yes.
I got some ideas. Don't worry, I'll hook you up. Okay, I can't get you anything in time. Amazon's slow, but listen, there's tons of cool things you can do. Tons of romantic things. Okay.
Oh, we're getting
And then we'll do like plane tickets or something after all this. For how long have y'all been together?
this will be our 15th anniversary.
Wow, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Use that outfit that I had with John Travolta, Scotty.
Oh Lord, how can y'all take Derek? Kick him out, Donna. Kick him out.
15 years.
Congratulations.
Hey, quick
Well, happy
question. Has anybody heard from Jamie?
Hey, Greg.
Hey, has anybody heard from Jamie? How's he doing?
I hear from him a little bit on his messenger. He's kind of building up his own thing or doing his thing. And I think he's doing pretty good. He's still overseas and, working with structure,
Yeah,
gotcha.
He's riding camels, having fun in Saudi.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Riding them cattle. I know, I'm joking. He's a good guy, though. He is a good guy, for sure. I do miss him, though, and his big mouth, and his big brother stuff. So.
Yeah, I chatted with him the other day. He's having fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good deal.
All right.
Adios.
Well, happy anniversary, Wendy and Scott. You guys, 15 years is quite the accomplishment. Lord knows it is not an easy feat. So,
We
congratulations.
both had 20-year practice marriages.
Oh my goodness.
That's sweet, though. You get brownie points for that. Yeah, you guys are good
Beautiful.
at that. Okay, after this is over, I'm seriously going to start dating. I'm never sitting at home again. I'm not kidding. Okay, I'm ready.
Have fun, guys.
Well,
me and Donna
Set
have
her
to
up,
bed.
Donna. Set her up.
No, not Donna. She's not setting me up, guys.
Good wishes, everyone.
And Donna got to vet the guy.
Virtual date, huh?
Take care.